Hi, hello, konnichiwa. You've most likely clicked on this video because you're interested in learning the Japanese language to some extent. Maybe it's because you like anime, or manga, or the Japanese culture. There's never been a more popular time to start learning Japanese. With year after year record-breaking registrations for the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, or JLPT for short, there has been a plethora of support and resources made to keep up with the increased interest. Whatever your reason may be, welcome. My name is Zach, and I've been studying Japanese for about 15 months at the time of recording. Now, for those who don't know, 15 months is nowhere near fluency levels of Japanese knowledge. Fluency looks more like 3 to 5 years of hard study. However, I can at this stage hold basic conversation with my Japanese friends, play games together, and could get around as a tourist just fine. But I'm clearly not someone who can teach you to become fluent in Japanese. So why am I making this video? Over the course of my Japanese learning journey, I've experienced two things: an extremely steep learning curve as a point of entry, and a level of gratification I have not experienced in any other way in my almost 30 years of life. This video is the first entry in a series of videos I will be producing to not teach you to become fluent in Japanese, but rather give you the tools to be efficient as a Japanese learner. The keyword being efficient. Shortly after scratching the surface of learning Japanese, you will quickly realize the massive amount of resources available. So many resources that you aren't really sure which ones to pick and what is actually helpful or potentially even harmful to your learning. As a brief disclaimer, my methods aren't going to work for everyone, and if you have something that works better for you, please continue to use that resource. Now that the disclaimer is out of the way, let's get right into the very first step you need to take when starting to learn Japanese: mastering kana, specifically Hiragana and Katakana. There are three writing forms in Japanese: Hiragana, Katakana, and Kanji. Kanji is going to be discussed in a future video because that is a whole massive topic that is far too complex to go over at the beginning stage of acquiring the Japanese language. Therefore, I'm going to keep this video series linear and get you to the point of reading, writing, and speaking Japanese. So first, let's talk Hiragana. There are a heap of phone applications out there for free which can teach you Hiragana. Many of these phone apps have weak points, such as only teaching you through hard memorization and lacking how each kana sounds or how it is written. By far the most efficient method I've found is using Tofugu's Guide to Hiragana. Some of you may have heard of Tofugu before, or perhaps the name Wanikani. Tofugu are the creators of Wanikani, the kanji study tool. Tofugu's Guide to Hiragana teaches you mnemonics to speed up your memorization, the proper way to speak each kana, as well as the correct stroke order to write each kana. You heard me right, stroke order matters in your handwriting. With the Tofugu Guide to Hiragana, and subsequently Katakana, you'll be able to completely master these two syllabaries in under 2 weeks, assuming you are spending 30 to 60 minutes a day on your study. Now you can just use the study guide PDF on your computer and pair it with the Ultimate Guide article. However, I went a step further and had each guide printed and bound by my local copy store. This way I could write directly into them as workbooks and have something tangible to add to my study resources. Please note that everything in this video is free. However, if you choose to create workbooks like I have, that would come at a cost. As a quick sidebar, for some stationery recommendations I've enjoyed, here are some tools I highly recommend to have: Zebra Delgard 0.7mm mechanical pencil, Zebra Sarasa 1.0 pen, a polymer eraser, and lead refills. Links to each of these products will be in the description. As a companion to the guides, Tofugu has already created a kana quiz tool on their website to help you with reviews as you go. Try and use this tool as you learn as much as possible. Before, I mentioned you can learn all these kana in less than 2 weeks with the correct amount of study. Here's a mock-up schedule on how to accomplish this. Each day, add 5 more new kana to your studies, while also reviewing the past kana with the kana quiz tool. Start with the A, I, U, E, O column, and then proceed from there. The guide will actually break these up per column for you as a natural stopping point. There are 46 kana in the basic category. At 9 days, you will become familiar with all of them. Note that this does not include the kana modifications, such as dakten, handakten, and the combination kana. However, these are much easier to learn after you have the basic foundation. Now for the wild card. For my math wizards out there, I'm sure you've been wondering, how can we do both Hiragana and Katakana in 2 weeks based off my mock-up schedule? We already took up 9 days just on Hiragana. Doesn't that only leave 5 more for all of katakana? You'd be right, however this schedule is assuming you're doing hiragana and katakana in tandem. But wait, that would mean 10 new kana per day, not 5. Sort of. If you notice when you pull up the katakana guide, it's all new characters, but the same sounds. That's because the only difference between hiragana and katakana is how they're written. How they're spoken is completely the same. So if they are exactly the same, why write them in 2 different ways? Good question. That's because katakana was reserved for loanwords that the Japanese language has adopted. Think a word like coffee or convenience store. These are loan concepts the Japanese language has taken and therefore writes them using katakana, such as kohi and konbini, not kohi and konbini written in hiragana. There are also several other reasons why katakana would be used. To name a couple, when emphasis is being put on a word, think like when you would use all caps in English, or katakana also ends up being used as a stylistic choice of writing. Examples may vary with each author. By learning hiragana and katakana together, you can be more efficient without sacrificing more of your time than necessary. I did not learn these together, but if I could start over, I definitely would have, and therefore, wouldn't have such a love-hate relationship with katakana, or not as much of one at least. Katakana is kind of the black sheep of the Japanese language. You'll come to understand that a little bit more as you continue to learn Japanese. That about sums up getting you started in your Japanese language journey. You may be thinking that now you can read manga, or play your favorite video games in Japanese. I'm not here to discourage you by saying you aren't ready, but rather that I want to keep you from discouraging yourselves. I've made the mistake of jumping into playing games and reading manga far too soon, and it really killed my motivation for a while. Hang in there, keep on your studies, learn as much as you can, and then go out and try some fun ways to consume Japanese content. Please don't forget, you will need to continue practicing hiragana and katakana beyond the initial 2 weeks, but it will eventually become second nature to you. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and I hope this video helped. You may be wondering what the next steps are after learning hiragana and katakana. If so, please leave a like and a comment on this video if you'd like to see the next installment of this series. All links shown and mentioned in the video will be in the description below. Until next time, take care, kyotsukete, mata ne!